This is Diana and welcome to Craft It Sweetly. In this video, I want to share with you how I made these glow-in-the-dark cards as well as some bookmarks. So first of all, the powder that I'm using is glow-in-the-dark powder, and it's a UV light charged powder. To make these cards, I'm using Lavinia Stamps. These are some really gorgeous stamps that I recently discovered, and they have such fun and pretty designs and very intricate designs. To first stamp the card, I'm using the Tim Holtz stamping platform because I'm going to have to repeat the stamping multiple times in order to make sure that I have enough of the clear ink on the card. So for this, I'm using the jellyfish design, and again, I'm using a clear ink, and then I'm going to have to stamp this multiple times onto the card. Once you've stamped the image, and you can't see it, but it's there, believe me, it's like when you're doing embossing powders, but using this glow in the dark. So I'll sprinkle the powder on generously because I'm just gonna shake off all the excess, so it's not going to waste for sure. The rest goes right back into the jar. And I do want to stamp a sentiment on this, and I'm using a Gina K design stamp set, and I do have, it's up the Poppy set, and I do have links below for all of the various supplies that I'm using. So if you have any questions about any of them, please comment below, but I do have links in the description right below. So with this, I'm just using a stamping block versus the stamping platform. So you want to make sure that you have your stamp, well covered with the clear ink, because it's a one-shot deal. So you can't go back and re-stamp it with this. So for this, I am using a different glow-in-the-dark powder, and this set does come with 10 different colors like I mentioned. And again, it's hard to see some of these designs. You'll see more once you can kind of see the imprint on it, depending on the angle that I'm going with. Now, if you have some excess powder on the card, you can slightly brush it off with your finger. Now we'll take the UV light, and you just have to take this light, it almost looks like a flashlight, and just keep it over the area that you've stamped. The more you keep it on there, the longer it gets charged. I usually keep it just a couple of minutes to make sure that the image is charged. After that, it's more just it being exposed to light. Now, to make sure that the image does not get smudged, I'm going to use a laminator. So I cut down a pouch, a laminating pouch, and I'm putting the image in this. So this will be attached to the front of a card, a slimline card. This won't work just using it as is, because where the embossing area is, or I should say where we've done the stamping and added the glow-in-the-dark powder, if you don't laminate it, it's just going to wipe right off. So this is the way I discovered that you can still use this glow-in-the-dark powder. So we'll heat up the laminator. It does take a little bit of time, but after the green light is on, I just feed the front of this card through the laminator. Trim off the excess plastic from it being laminated, and then this portion is what I will use some art glitter glue to glue to the front of a slimline card. I do like to go over it one more time once I'm done with this, just to charge it a little more in case any of the heating affected the glow in the dark. So I'll go over it with the UV light one more time and then attach it to the front of the card. Another stamp set also from the Lavinia Stamps is this fairy design, and I really like I mentioned, her stamps just because they're so beautiful and intricate. So this is a fairy stamp, and I'm stamping it for an A2 card. So I'll do the same process. For this one, I'm just using the mini Misty stamping platform versus the Tim Holtz larger one. The other one did not fit in here, so because this is a smaller card, I can just use the mini Misty for it. So for this, we'll do the same process as for the slimline card. I'm going to stamp this multiple times and then do the glow in the dark powder. For this card, I will use a sentiment from the Alta New Dotted Blooms stamp set, and I'm just going to stamp this at the bottom of the card. Now for this one, you'll notice at the end that this actually will not glow in the dark, and the reason for that is when I stamped it, it didn't stamp the way I wanted it, so I wiped off the majority of it, but where the clear ink was, it was still darker than the rest of the card. So I just left it because I think it's still a pretty design with it. So as you can see, where the sentiment is, it's darker, but this will not glow in the dark because I took off all the powder. So that's just the coloring that was left on the card. Same with this card, I cut out a small pouch from the plastic pouch, just a small section of it, and I'm going to laminate this as well, and it will go on the front of a card. Before I do the laminating, I will go over it with the charging light just to make sure that the powder is charged. Again, we'll glue this to the front of the card using art glitter glue, and there you have that card. And I will show you at the end how cool they are once they glow in the dark. So for this last project, I wanted to show you these Lavinia stamps, and they're dandelions with really pretty designs and intricate on it. And I have some blank bookmarks that I will stamp one on each one in different colors, so it becomes a set. So this will be the same process with inking and then multiple times and then doing the glow in the dark powder, and I'm going to do different colors for each bookmark, and then everything will be laminated at the end, same way as with the front of the cards. For the bookmarks, I will use the little dragonflies from the Creative Stamp Set, Serene Swans, and I'll just stamp the dragonflies on all 3 bookmarks in different colors. So I'll laminate all 3 bookmarks at the same time once the designs were charged with the UV light. And then I'll cut them separately once all 3 of them are laminated at the same time. So I'll use the We Are Memory Keepers hole puncher from the Crocodile for this, and I'll just punch the hole through the plastic so that I can add a little bit of ribbon to the top of the bookmark. So now once you've done that, we'll add the ribbon to the top of the cards. So looking at these cards, they look pretty plain, simple, you know, nothing to them. But once you have them exposed to light, and then at night when you turn off the light, then you can see the pretty design with each one. So here are the bookmarks, and it's a little hard. The image is not as sharp with my camera, unfortunately, but I'll show you some still shots of it. So here is the jellyfish again on the camera, but I'll show you some pictures that I took of them. It just shows up much sharper in reality versus what I could record on the camera. And then the fairy, there it is, sort of the card, and then this is what it looks like once I turn off the light. How beautiful that is. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please comment below. Please don't forget to subscribe and share. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.